favourite Uncle Frog here again. Now I thought today it might be a nice idea to have a look at different types of helmet and their varying levels of authenticity. Now here I have a selection of helmets from different places and different societies that are all based around sort of the 800 to 1000 AD. Now obviously, you discerning people looking down here, you're thinking, oh, one of those is most definitely very, very authentic. And you'd be right, because we've got a Viking horned helmet here. And everybody knows that a horned helmet... horned helmets. This is a quality piece of tat, it has to be said. I mean, you have to admire this helmet. It is the brass here, the way the horns are attached, the fact that it's perfectly round, the faux leather strip and the rather nice chrome studs on here. Where does this come from? This actually comes from an unmentioned museum education department. Now, they gave it to me because they knew that it was a piece of tat. I mean, this is a high quality piece of tat, but they knew it was a piece of tat. I got this in the late 80s, early 90s, because the outreach officer there had two of these things, in fact, in his cellar, and he could do nothing with them because he knew they were wrong. But these had been made up in the 1960s, and they genuinely thought that this was what Viking helmets looked like in the 1960s. And you have to ask the question, why? There is one carving which may or may not show a person, could just be a fantasy figure or kind of like some kind of religious figure, with possibly horns on their helmets. Some of Rome's adversaries, some of the Gauls and the Franks, it's possible that they had ceremonial horn helmets as well. If you have ever worn any of these types of helmet and fought in them, you know that this is a really, really bad idea. And there's no evidence. There really is no evidence, other than a couple of drawings and some stuff that has nothing to do with the Vikings, or kind of sort of do we really want to call them Vikings? Has nothing to do with the Norse culture, and is not geographically located there, and also sort of many hundreds of years out in terms of time period. This we can probably squarely blame on the Victorians, because they wanted the idea of these kind of violent barbarians with horns, horned helmets and stuff. But it is a very, very strong image that still lasts today. And people still think, oh, horns on helmets, and if you kind of go into a shop, one of these kind of sort of Halloween type of year, and the Viking costume, always a plastic helmet with horns on it. This is just a lasting image, and we're constantly fighting against these people saying, oh, didn't they have horns on their helmets? Well, not if you didn't want to break your neck. That's the answer to that one. But I love this thing. It's my favourite one. And the best bit about it is completely round. So, I mean, if you do actually try and stick it on your head, it just, it's awful. But it is quality bad. Okay, so enough about this thing. Let's put it down there so you can focus. Let's talk about these two helmets. This is reenactment. Clang. This is a reenactor's helmet. It's a version of a Spangenhelm. It has two very large plates either side, smaller plates in here, and it is genuinely, I mean, maybe I can get it close to the camera, you can see, it is genuinely riveted on the inside. It is as close as we can get it to being a real one. Problems with this, we don't really have that many helmets. yeah, how many have we got? 5, 6, 7, maybe maximum, and bits of helmet that we pulled out of the ground. And how these things were actually held on the head is an interesting problem. We get the metal surviving, so we don't get the leather surviving. This has been interpreted as a spider that goes in here, and then the spider comes out and it goes either side of the ear. So this is a Y, and then it goes into the spider, which is inside. Again, I can try to say that, and you're just not going to be able to see this, I don't think. But there's you can see that there's a knot in there. So if you imagine the first Y, which goes around your ears, sort of here, and then it comes out, and there's 2 more smaller Ys as it splits, so you can knot the thing in the right place. Now, my nose is not centrally on my head because I have a deformed head. So feel free to laugh when the nasal bar doesn't cover my nose, because of course nasal bars should cover noses. But this one doesn't. So this goes on here, it goes over my ears, it kind of lines up but not quite, and then you just got a pull strap here, and that holds it on. Good. This is designed to deflect shots coming down. Anything coming in from the side, you're probably going to use your sword or your shield to defend against. There is no padding in this. Playing in the SCA, I would not want to be wearing this because I'd end up getting concussed. But this is what they wore. So if you're in a historical reenactment society, that's what you got on your head. So let's get that off, if I can. A little bit of hold music for you. That comes off. Take it off my nose. So, nice helmet, fits, good. Doesn't work for the SCA. Why doesn't it work for the SCA? The SCA like to smack each other in the head with pieces of rattan, and they hit relatively hard. Therefore, you need padding, and the other thing that they do is that they choose to make the helmets out of far heavier materials. I forgot to actually weigh these things beforehand. I will put something down below once I figured out how much each one weighs. I will weigh them later, and then I'll put that underneath so you know the difference in weight between these two things. Let's get that out of the way because it's rocking. Stick that down there. So this is an SCA helmet. It is an interpretation of the Coppergate. I'll put the Coppergate up, and you can see actually quite different. It's a little bit rusty at the moment because we just did a very, very, very wet event, and this sadly suffered from a little bit from the rust, so it needs cleaning up. So I apologise for that. It wouldn't normally be this horrible. On the genuine Coppergate helm, and the cheap panels are on hinges. These are not. There is an aventail on the back of this thing, just like the Coppergate. However, underneath this, there is a piece of steel. Why? Because you get smacked in the head, and people want you not to die. So the helmets are made from steel. We can thrust into the face, and so we've got these metal bars on the front here. These have been painted black, so you don't see them so much. This is only part of the difference. The steel is a lot heavier. Again, I forget exactly what the regulations are now for the helmet, but I'll put that underneath as well. And the padding, which is modern padding in this case, this is just foam padding in here, modern foam padding, closed cell foam padding. That and the solidity of the helmet defends against the shots. So most of the time when somebody smacks me in the side of the head, I just hear a faint ringing noise, and that's about it. However, there is something else that happens with these helmets and where they're put on. And so, I don't know if you can see that there's a double strap here. This one is a chin strap. And this, like an American football helmet, goes over here, and everybody does it slightly differently. I have my one just coming down underneath here. That helps to stop the up and down movement. Reason for this, if I can actually get this on now, because obviously it's going to go wrong because I'm doing it on camera, but we'll, you know, we'll give it a go. So, okay, yeah, that went wrong. Like I said, I got back an event, I haven't sorted it out, and it all got tangled up with other bits and pieces. Somebody else very kindly packed it for me, but it all kind of got a bit twisted up. So, sorted out the twisting up, should be very straightforward now to put it on, because I like straightforward things. So, let's put that on and strap it up. And there we go. Now, the difference between this is that the upward movement is only a little bit, but the most important thing here is if we turn side on and I press, it doesn't go forward. And that's due to this chin strap that's in here. Because obviously, you know, spears and swords can come in and push you in the face, and if I was wearing something like that with no bars on it, then that would be messy. And if the helmet gets driven onto my face, that would also be messy. So, there you go. Out. So, something that looks a little bit like the original, but that has been changed considerably for safety reasons, and safety reasons alone. Something that looks as close to the original as absolutely possible, but of course if you wanted to do fighting like the SCA does, that is not going to work. And, you know, spear in the face is going to hurt with something like this. And of course, our most accurate and wonderful helmet that we could possibly have, the Horned Viking helmet. Like I said, I know I shouldn't like this helmet, but I do love it because it is high quality tat. I keep this because it's amusing, but also, you know, if you're doing some kind of outreach, you know, and you're trying to teach people, it's very useful to have something like this and say, oh yeah, everybody knows about this, but no, it's not a good idea. Sword down the side there, badly damaged neck, not a good idea. Anyway, maybe that should put that on again. Nope, not going to work. Right, okay, doesn't fit. I need to hammer my head into a circle. So I hope you have enjoyed watching this, and I look forward to see. Oh no, hang on! I'm supposed to tell you to hit buttons and do things and stuff. Yeah, do the hitty button stuff and everything else. And I'll see you next time. Bye.
Arse.